I am welcoming all for the 10 days professional development program on research methodology and data analysis. Today is the third day. Today we are going to discuss another one important aspect in research, that is none other than research design. Before discussing research design, I would like to start the session with one story. There is a person, he knows everything. Then he's like a guru, or he's like a guru, or he's a guru. Then so he had several. This guru had several disciples. The guru doesn't like the bitter gourd. You are aware about the bitter gourd. He doesn't like. One day, one of his disciple invited him for a lunch. Then he has accepted. So he went to that particular disciple's house. The disciple doesn't aware about this fact. So he served bitter gourd. He don't want to disappoint the disciple. So he then he took one pinch. Again, the disciple thought he is very much interested. So he has served again. Then he don't want to disappoint. Then he is taking one pinch. On seeing this, then again their disciples spread this information like a forest fire. Then thereafter, wherever he goes, you know what is the first food item served? The bitter gourd. At one point of time, without bitter gourd, he could not take even single day food. That is a story. So what is the inference? Research is like this. When you do research initially, it will be like a bitter gourd, unless you know the nuances of research. Once you know the nuances of the research, it's a very enjoyable moment. So normally we will say measure twice. When we teach the cloth, we used to say measure twice, cut once. Similarly, if you know the nuances of the research, how to formulate the problem, how to write a review of literature, what is research design, data collection method, sampling design, questionnaire development method, data analysis method, report writing, how to present your research finding in the form of research paper, everything would be very easy. So with this today, just I would like to throw some light on research design. After presenting this, this PowerPoint presentation, just I would like to discuss some practical aspects. Then say, for example, how we can ask questions. A research question in case of exploratory research design, then descriptive research design, then causal research design, and then I have prepared the same thing in some word form. Then at the end, I am ready to clarify the participants' queries. Okay, so with this, we can discuss the research design. Research design plays very, very important role with regard to research. Let's take social science research. First, we will identify the problem. After identifying the problem, next what we will do is we will first we will identify the problem. Next, after identifying the problem, we will do the review of literature. After doing review of literature, we will identify the research gap. After identifying the research gap, we will formulate the research objective. After formulating the research objective, we should prepare the research design. This is very, very important. What is research design? Research design is nothing but it's a blueprint for conducting the research project. Whatever may be your research, whether it's a finance or whether it's a marketing or whether it's a human resource management or whatever it may be, you name anything. First, we should design the research. Then research design is very, very important. So what is research design? Research design is nothing but it's a framework, or it's a blueprint for conducting the research project. So let's take what are the components of research design? That means people might ask, what are the components of the research design? This is the components of the research design. Before we carry out the research, first we have to define what is the information, what kind of information we needed. That is very, very important. Now, sometimes the scholar might ask the question, sir, if you are not defining the research design properly, what will happen? Then you will have some error. This error can be classified into random sampling error, non-random sampling error. We are going to discuss at the end of the session. So if you don't want this kind of error, means you should define the research design. You should define your research in a proper way. Okay. So what is the components of the research design? First one, you should define what are the information needed. Next, you should design whether your research is exploratory research or descriptive research or casual research. Exploratory, descriptive or casual research. What is we are going to discuss very elaborately. Now just I can give the meaning for now I would like to give I would like to explain the meaning for this terminology. Exploratory, explore, the term explore means what? That is you are exploring something. That means you are doing research for the first time in the particular topic. That is then this is the example for exploratory research. Descriptive research means already somebody has done a research. Just you are going to describe what has happened. As a researcher, you doesn't have any control over the independent variable or dependent variable in case of descriptive research. Next, what is the casual research? Casual research is nothing but normally, initially this has been used in case of experiments. But later on now we have, let's take social science. We have used the casual research to examine the influence of independent variable on a dependent variable. So we have to design whether our design is exploratory or descriptive or casual research. Next, we have to define the measurement and scaling procedure. What is measurement and scaling procedure? That is said to be that is a questionnaire development. Questionnaire development. We should define this before carry out the research. That is sometimes you might have seen the instrument development in some research paper. They might give separate heading: instrument development or construct development, formative, reflective, item, variable. You might have come across this terminology. So it's all related to the questionnaire development. Okay. So we should develop the questionnaire. Normally, questionnaire should be developed based on objectives of the study. Questionnaire means what? For example, I would like to measure the term customer satisfaction. Customer satisfaction. So I can what is customer satisfaction? I can ask some. I can measure this with the help of some variable. For example, I'm satisfied with the product or services offered with a particular organizations. If I need product again, I will approach the same organization again. So these are the items, these are the variables relating to customer satisfaction. So we should define, say for example, we have to define what kind of scaling we are going to use, whether we are going to use nominal scale or ordinal scale or interval scale or ratio scale. Then for the purpose of simplicity, whenever you formulate a questionnaire, normally questionnaire has three important components. First part of the questionnaire talks about demographic profile of the respondent. Demographic means what? Demography means what? Study about the population. First part you can use nominal and ordinal scale. Nominal and ordinal scale in the first part of the questionnaire. Second part, let's take a second part of the questionnaire. You can use interval scale. Second part of the questionnaire, you can use interval or ratio scale. If you have used interval scale in second part of the questionnaire normally talks about independent variable. Third part of the questionnaire talks about dependent variable. So you can have you can use nominal and ordinal scale in your demographic profile of the respondent. It is advisable to use interval scale in independent and dependent variable. If you have designed the questionnaire, you can use any statistical tool. You name anything. You can use any parametric statistical tool. Normally, let's take statistical tool. There are two types of statistical tool the researcher have used. One is parametric, another one is non-parametric. What is parametric? If any statistical test is considering mean as a base, now this is said to be parametric. If any statistical test is considering median as a base, means it will comes under non-parametric test. Okay, so we are going to discuss very elaborately in the subsequent session what is how to develop the questionnaire, what is formative, what is reflective, which one would be better in the tomorrow session. Okay, so measurement and scaling procedure. Once we prepare the questionnaire, next we should do the pre-testing the questionnaire. Pre-test means what? I have prepared the questionnaire. Once I have prepared the questionnaire, first before distributing questionnaire to the respondent, first I should do the content validity of the questionnaire. Content validity. What is the content validity? And then researcher should constitute a team in which and the research supervisor, maybe one of the team member, then another one subject expert should be invited. The researcher is supposed to present the objective 1, 2, 3. Similarly, for first objective, these are the questions. For second objective, these are the questions. For third objective, these are the questions. So the content of the question should be validated based on the objectives. Okay. And then the other name of this is said to be phase validity. Once you prepare the content validity, next the researcher should incorporate all the suggestions given by the expert. Next, before distributing questionnaire to the respondents, the researcher should do the pilot study. That is very, very important. Why we should do the pilot study? To avoid the avoid the missing value in data analysis. Normally, when we do data analysis, sometimes certain questions may be difficult. Sometimes you might ask some sensitive question in the initial stage itself. So in such circumstances, we cannot get proper response. So this can be done. This can be avoided by way of conducting pilot study. Pilot study means before distributing questionnaire to the respondent, at least randomly or according to your convenience, you can distribute the questionnaire to 10 or 20 respondents. You observe the reactions. Based on the response, based on their feedback, you can make some changes. Sometimes question 1 or 2 may be same, or question number variable 1 or 10 may be same. Sometimes some variables may be very tough. In the sense what you may use the commercial jargon. Now, for example, instead of using essential, you may use this word uberima bidi or indispensable. Instead of using this word identity of mind, you may use this terminology. There is no consensus at item. This is a legal terminology. So in such circumstances, people may find it very difficult. So they can say, and now you can make a changes. Okay. Next, you should also define the data collection process. Everything will comes under research design, data collection process. What is data collection process? Normally, let's take a data. Data we can have two different data. One is a qualitative data, another one is a quantitative data. Whether we are going to collect qualitative data or quantitative data. Qualitative data means which method we are going to use. Whether you are going to use focus group method or depth interview method or projective technique method or construction technique method or storytelling method or sentence completion method, we have to define well in advance. If it is a quantitative data, means observation method or questionnaire method or interview schedule method, which method we are going to collect, which method we are going to adapt for collecting data, that should be defined well in advance. After this, next, we should also define the sample size as well as sampling method. Sample size as well as sampling method. Specify the sampling process. We are going to discuss very elaborately in this subsequent days. What is sampling process? We should define who is our sampling unit. Then what's our sampling framework? What kind of sampling method? Which kind of sampling method we are going to use? there are two types of sampling method. One is a probability sampling method. Another one is a non-probability sampling method. Mostly, most other people would like to use only the probability sampling method, probability sampling method or random sampling method. But sometimes, due to some other circumstances, you may be forced to use non-probability. You may be forced to use non-probability sampling method. Okay, so we have to define this aspect well in advance. Similarly, we have to define the sample size. Okay, finally, plan of data analysis. Plan of data analysis means what? We have 5 objectives, 5 research. Just imagine that you have 5 research objectives. For each objective, you should have you should use some statistical test. For example, 5 objective means you should have 5. You should employ or you should administer 5 statistical tools. Apart from this 5 statistical tool, you should use 2 statistical tools separately. One is reliability, another one is validity. One is reliability, another one is validity. So reliability can be checked with the help of Cronbach alpha. So minimum you should use 7 statistical tools. You should explain, you should have a clear idea. For example, for first objective, then the researcher will administer, or you may be administer factor analysis. For second objective, t-test, one sample t-test, or paired sample t-test, or independent sample t-test. Then third objective, multiple regression. Fourth objective, discriminant, or you can use any statistical tool. Statistical tool should be used based on objectives of the study. Okay, so we should define this component well in advance. So what is the research design? Research design is nothing but it's a blueprint for the research. Then before, for example, whenever we would like to construct a house, first we should draw the blueprint, then we will start the process. Similarly, you would like to do the research. So first you should define what kind of information you needed. That is very, very important. Next, we should define, design whether our research is exploratory, descriptive, or casual research. Next, how I am going to measure the data. Then construct, there is a development of the questionnaire and pre-test the questionnaire. Then which data collection method I am going to use. Then which sampling method I am going to use. Then plan of analysis. If we take some thesis, reputed institutions, you might have seen. Then framework of analysis. Instead of saying the plan of data analysis, they will say framework of analysis. Okay, now let's take a research design. Normally, research design can be classified into 2 types. Research design can be classified into 2 types. One is a exploratory research design. Another one is a conclusive research design. So what is exploratory research design? Then you are doing research for the first time. That means you are exploring something. All qualitative research will come under exploratory research design. The main objectives of exploratory research design is to develop theory or to develop hypothesis. In case of exploratory research design, then data is unstructured because you are doing research for the first time. So there will not be a review of literature. Whatever you are doing, whatever you are saying, that will be final because it's unstructured one, exploratory research design. Okay. Then, so the other name of exploratory research design is said to be non-conclusive research. Non-conclusive research. That means we are not going to get any conclusion out of this. Our main purpose is to draw some hypothesis, to develop some theory. That is this is the main objectives of exploratory research design. What is the next one? Conclusive research design. The conclusive research is to draw some influence, to draw some inference. And this can be classified into 2 types. One is descriptive research. Another one is casual research. One is descriptive research. Another one is casual research. Okay. What is a descriptive research? Descriptive research means it describes what has happened. What has happened? The researcher doesn't have any control over the independent or dependent variable. What is a casual research? Casual research means In case of casual research, just we are going to examine the influence of independent variable on dependent variable, or we can predict the influence of independent variable on dependent variable. That is the main objectives of casual research. This descriptive research can be classified into two types. One is a cross-sectional research, another one is a longitudinal research. What is cross-sectional research? What is longitudinal research? What is cross-sectional research? In case of cross-sectional research, data will be collected from the respondents only once during the entire research. So this is the meaning for the term cross-sectional research. Cross-sectional means data will be collected from the respondents only once. So let's take all marketing related study will comes under cross-sectional research. For example, I would like to study the customer perception towards online shopping. So I have identified some respondents, sampling population. I can distribute, I'm supposed to distribute the questionnaire to the respondents. I'm supposed to collect data from the respondents only once during the entire research. This is said to be cross-sectional design. Okay. What is a longitudinal design? What is a longitudinal design? In case of longitudinal design, data will be collected. The same data will be collected from the same sampling unit over a different period of time. This is the meaning for the term longitudinal design. I will give one example. For example, let's take a dividend. You have identified some sampling, some organization as a sampling unit. Organization X, organization Y, organization Z, X, Y, Z. Now you have collected the dividend related data last year. Okay, and next this year also you have collected dividend related data from the same organization. How much dividend has declared by organization X, how much dividend has been declared by organization Y, how much dividend has been declared by organization Z. Next year also, you are going to collect the same data from the same organization. Otherwise, technically, we can say from the same sampling unit. When you collect data from the same sampling unit over a different period of time, and this is said to be longitudinal design. So all finance related topics will comes under longitudinal design. For example, this year you have collected the inflation related data or macroeconomic variable related data from the same sampling unit. So what is sampling? What is sampling unit? Sampling unit means it's a base. For example, let's take a bank can have different types of customer. Bank can have agriculture is as another customer, housing loan. The person who has obtained housing loan, he may be one of the customer. Businessman maybe another customer. Education loan, students may be another customer. Their requirement is something different. So then say, for example, I have to define my sampling unit. Okay, so this can be, the descriptive research can be classified into two types, cross-sectional and longitudinal design. Even the cross-sectional design can be classified into two types, single cross-sectional, then single cross-sectional plus multiple cross-sectional. What is single cross-sectional? Single cross-sectional means data will be collected, same data will be collected from the only one sampling unit. What is multiple cross-sectional? Multiple cross-sectional means same data will be collected from more than one sampling unit. I can give one example. You'd like to just imagine that you are doing research on emotional intelligence of the human being, in a particular organization. You have divided the population into two categories. One is a male, another one is a female. Female. Male is one sampling unit, female is only one sampling unit. You have collected the same data from the both male and you are going to collect the data from the same population. There is male and female over the same period. This is an example for multiple cross-sectional design. Okay. Now, next one, let's take a exploratory. Let's take, what are the major difference between exploratory design and conclusive design? What are the major difference? Let's take the objectives of exploratory design. The main objectives of exploratory research design is to provide insights and understanding. That is the main objective. That is, whereas let's take descriptive, or let's take conclusive research. Under conclusive research, descriptive as well as casual research will come. The main objectives of conclusive research is to test specific hypothesis and examine the relationship. Even just we can examine the relationship between independent variable or dependent variable. It will comes under conclusive research. Okay, what are the characteristics of exploratory research? In case of exploratory research, information needed is defined only loosely. That means you are doing research for the first time, so you don't have any information. So this is said to be unstructured or flexible one. Even in case of exploratory research, then sample size would be very less. Sometimes it may not be non-representative. Sometimes what is non-representative? For example, when you use non-random sampling, people may say that it's not a representative. Why it's not a representative? Whenever we do sampling, it should represent the entire views of the entire population. In case of when you do non-random, when you have selected any non-random sampling method like convenience sampling method or judgmental sampling method or snowball sampling method, it will not represent true and fair view, because all sampling units will not have an equal opportunity of being selected as a sample. But even then it is accepted in case of exploratory research, because we are doing research for the first time. We don't know the way how to go. Another one important thing, let's take in case of exploratory research. When you're doing research, exploratory research, all you may collect data through the qualitative data. Qualitative data means what? Say, for example, you can collect data through different methods. Say, for example, direct. There is a direct method, and there are different methods. For example, one may be focus group method. Another one may be in-depth interview. What is the focus group? Probably these groups are highly knowledgeable group. You can ask any problem with this group. Okay, and the group may be the homogeneous one. Okay, similarly, you can also collect data from you can also collect exploratory related data by way of depth interview. What is a depth interview? Let's take, you might have seen in televisions. Okay, probably they may call some experts from the Indian Economic Association or Reserve Bank of India or then SEBI or some other organization. Then probably he may be very knowledgeable person. So then probably then another one persons or probably another one researchers or another persons might ask several questions. Based on he will ask questions from basic level to advanced level. Finally, he will get the information. So, okay, so this is said to be the focus, and this is said to be depth interview. Sometimes they may use the third person technique. Sometimes they may use some other method. For example, story telling method or storytelling method. I can give one example for storytelling method. You are approaching, then for example, you went to one hotel. Okay, you are placed order. You feel very hungry. You are placed order. No food came for 40. Then you are waited up to 45 minutes. There is no response. Then in such circumstances, when you about to leave from the organization or when you about to cancel the order, immediately the bearer came and he served the food. Okay, in such circumstances, sometimes what will be your reactions? Then you may be asked to give your opinion in 20 different reactions. Say, for example, what you will do, whether you will accept or whether you will scold the bearer or whether you will criticize, what you will do. Then you have been asked to write your responses. based on which probably the organization can know the underlying motivations or reaction of the customer. This is possible in case of qualitative research. When you do the exploratory research, normally data will be collected through this kind of method. Similarly, let's take the findings. We can get findings from the exploratory research, but we cannot say this is a conclusive finding. This may be the tentative findings. Okay. Similarly, whereas let's take conclusive research. If you get any finding, it's authenticated. It's authenticated one. So, what are the uses of exploratory research? Exploratory research can be used for formulating the problem or defining the problem more accurately, because we don't know the problem, or we don't know, we are doing the research for the first time. In such circumstances, with the help of exploratory research, we can define the problem in a proper way. Similarly, we can also identify alternate course of actions. Which method we have seen? There are two different research approach has been used. One is inductive, another one is deductive. Which approach we are supposed to follow? This can be known only with the help of exploratory research. Exploratory research can be used to develop hypothesis. Normally, we are aware about hypothesis. Hypothesis is nothing but it's a tentative. It's a tentative assumption about the population. There are two types of hypothesis: null hypothesis. Another one is alternate hypothesis. Null hypothesis. What null hypothesis says? Null hypothesis says there is no significant difference between status quo. There is no significant difference between independent and dependent variable. What is alternate hypothesis says? There is a difference between independent and dependent variable. Our main intention is to reject null hypothesis. This is our main intention. Okay. How to develop hypothesis? We cannot develop hypothesis on our own. Sometimes even the scholar might do the hypothesis testing just like that. They will say, then even let's take SPSS, then you can take any one other independent variable, any one other variable as a dependent variable. When you do the hypothesis testing, you can use any statistical test, chi-square test or t-test, whatever it may be. SPSS will give output. SPSS will give output, but immediately people will say, see, the SPSS has given output, so that means it could be right. No, that is not a correct way. SPSS is like it's an instrument. Say, for example, we can say it's like a mixie in your home. For example, you'd like to prepare some coconut chutney. So you should know the ingredients. What are the ingredients? Okay, even when you put some unwanted things, say for example, when you put some sand, then whether it will say it's a sand? No, it will give output. But whether this output is a good? No, we cannot say it's a good. How to develop hypothesis? There is a methodology. We can develop hypothesis based on the theoretical base. We cannot develop hypothesis on our own. So with the help of exploratory research, we can develop hypothesis. We can also identify the key variables. That is, we can also identify independent variable and dependent variable, and we can also identify the relationship for the further examinations. Okay. Next, gain insight for developing approaches to the problem. That is deductive approach and inductive approach. It also helps establish priorities for the future research. Normally, whenever we do research, we will write one section called then, say for example, limitation and scope for future research. As a researcher, I would like to find the scope. So, which part of the research should be read first? Then limitation and scope for the further research. When I see the limitation, sometimes they may write the researcher this, and then even though the study has achieved its objective, the study has following limitation. The first limitation, the researcher has used non-random sampling as one of the sampling method. In future, the researcher might use other sampling method. So that is one of the limitations. Okay, the researcher has identified only 10 independent variable. For the future study, the researcher could use more number of independent variable. Okay, this is one of the research. This is one of the scope. So similarly, let's take, we can identify the scope for further research. Okay, So this is another one uses of exploratory research. Okay. What are the various methods of exploratory research? When we do the exploratory research, we have used different methods for collecting data. One is survey of experts. We can collect some data from the experts because they are authority in the particular field. For example, if when COVID spread like anything, immediately, let's say health department, they may approach some doctors because the problem is new, no one knows what will happen, so they may collect some data. Similarly, you can also conduct some pilot study. Similarly, you can also analyze the secondary data in a qualitative way. Normally, data can be classified into two types. One is primary data, another one is secondary data. When we use secondary data, we should be very careful. Very careful means, then say for example, we have to check who has collected the data, then credibility of the data, whether the data has following, whether data has been collected by proper methodology. We have to check. Then if it is okay, we can proceed. We can make use of the data. There is no harm in it. Similarly, we can collect data through qualitative research. Qualitative research means, say for example, data can be collected by way of focus group or depth interview or storytelling technique or sentence completion technique. What is sentence completion technique? Say for example, the researcher may write one sentence. Okay, some space will be given, and then probably the respondent is supposed to complete the sentence. Say for example, does Chennai is a nice place to live in because, so probably, and then the researcher, probably the respondent is supposed to give their own views. Now you might ask, why we should use a qualitative research? Qualitative research, in some circumstances, qualitative research is very, very important. Certain things cannot be drawn from the human beings directly, even though you have distributed a questionnaire. You cannot draw something directly. For example, you like to know the reaction of the child. You like to know the reaction of the child with regard to the toys. Okay, whether you can ask any questions to the child? No, that is not possible. But you can also observe how child is doing with the particular toys. Based on observation, you can come to the conclusions. Similarly, let's say sometimes some sensitive questions, it's very, very difficult to get answer for sensitive questions. In such circumstances, when you use the third person technique. What is the third person technique? You can ask in normally what people will do under the following situations. Immediately people will say, these are the path, this, and probably the people will do like this. And they may explain, say 1, 2, 3. So that is their underlying motivations. So you can get the idea. Okay. So qualitative research. So these are the four methods has been used in case of exploratory research. You have used when in case of exploratory research, when we are using exploratory research, particularly secondary data. When we use secondary data, we have to check what is the methodology used to collect data. There is a research methodology. Even if you take the research paper, there is a proper format: introduction, review of literature, research objective, research design. Under research design, scope of the study will come, sampling unit will come, data collection method will come, questionnaire development will come, framework analysis will come. Everything will comes under sampling, research methodology plus data analysis, conclusion, discussion part, managerial implications, limitation and scope for study. So this is the structure of the research paper. Okay, whether they have then you have to check whether they have followed, whether the secondary data follow the proper methodology. Otherwise, then credibility, we cannot give guarantee for the credibility. Another one important thing, accuracy of the data. That is also very, very important. Another one important thing, when data were collected, sometimes some data might have been collected 25 years back. What is the use of this data now? That's and then so now this data may not be useful. Another one important thing is what is the purpose? What is the purpose for which the data has been collected? Okay. Next one, what is the content of the data? Content of the data plays very important role. Dependability. Overall, how dependable are the data? We have to check this aspect in case of secondary data. That means if we have used secondary data, we have to check. Okay. Next one is descriptive research. Already we have discussed what is meant by the term descriptive research. What is descriptive research? In case of descriptive research, then this research will describe what has happened. And then in case of descriptive research, the researcher doesn't have any control over the independent or dependent variable. Whereas let's take a scientific research or engineering research. The researcher have a control over the dependent variable or independent variable. They can manipulate the independent or dependent variable so they can get some reactions. So what are the uses of descriptive research? Say for example, it describe the characteristics of relevant group of units such as consumers, salespeople, organization, and market areas to estimate the percentage of units in a specified population exhibiting certain behavior. To determine the perception of product characteristics, to determine the degree to which variables are associated. These are the various uses of descriptive research. What are the various methods used to collect descriptive research? How descriptive research can be done? One is secondary data, another one is surveys, third one is panel, fourth one is observation. With the help of observation, we can get different data. For example, let's take you'd like to collect some data from the tribal people. How you can collect data from the tribal people? It's not possible. So you can observe their tradition. You can observe their culture. And this is possible. Or otherwise, similarly, you would like to describe the traffic situations in a particular city, say for example, Bangalore or Chennai. How you can describe? Simply you can observe. A human being can observe. Sometimes you can also make use of the mechanical device. So based on this, you can collect some descriptive research related data. Okay. Already we discussed cross-sectional data. What is cross-sectional longitudinal design? We have seen. And this picture will clearly explain what is cross-sectional design and what is longitudinal design. Cross-sectional means what? In case of cross-sectional, then data will be collected from the respondents only once. In case of longitudinal design, data will be collected from the same respondents over a different period of time. Okay. So these are the major difference between cross-sectional and longitudinal data, longitudinal design. If you want to detect the change, you can use longitudinal research design. But in case of then say for example, accuracy, where you can get more accuracy. For example, in case of longitudinal data, you can get more accuracy because you can you can also detect the changes. Similarly, let's take a representative sampling. So which one will have a representative sampling, and then both cross-sectional longitudinal will have a representative sampling, but longitudinal will have more representative sampling. In case of cross-sectional, there may be a bias. Okay. Next one is casual research design. So what is casual research design? Casual research design allows you to understand cause and effect relationship. It is intended to answer specific market research question to assist management decision. Say for example, you'd like to, for example, whenever we do the casual research, we are supposed to identify two important variables. One is independent variable, another one is independent variable, another one is dependent variable. So what we are going to do with the independent and dependent variable, just we are going to determine the nature of relationship between independent variable and dependent variable. So in case of science experiments, experiments will be used. For example, to study the influence of service quality dimensions on customer
Voice problem, sir. Sir. Sorry to cut in, sir. Voice problem.
for casual. This is an example for casual research. Different research.
Yeah.
What are the objectives of exploratory research? To discovery of idea. This is the main objectives. Whereas let's take a descriptive research. What are the main objectives of descriptive research? To describe market characteristics or functions. So what are the main objectives of casual research design? To determine cause and effect relationship. This is the main objectives of casual research. What are the characteristics of exploratory, descriptive, and casual research? Exploratory research is a flexible one. Let's take descriptive research. It is marked by a pre-formulation of specific hypothesis. Then there is a descriptive research is well defined. Already in case of descriptive research, already it has been well defined. Casual research. In case of casual research, just we are going to manipulate the independent variable on dependent variable. Okay. So what are the various methods can be used? What are the various methods can be used in case of independent and dependent variable? Exploratory research. Expert survey will be used. Pilot study, case study, secondary data. Similarly, let's take descriptive, secondary data, qualitative analysis, survey, and panels. Okay. Casual research, experiments. Okay. Now, this is a theoretical part. Now, then we are supposed to discuss the research. We are supposed to discuss error in research design. Before discussing error in research design, just I would like to share another one important aspect. Say for example, let's take this. Say for example, just okay. Any one of the participants can acknowledge whether you can see the word file. Yes. You can also we can also give your answer in the chat box. Whether you can see whether you can able to see the word file. Yes, any one of the participants can respond. Okay. Then see Portal X planning to launch a branch and wants to assess the market size. The hotel will be targeted at the premium end of the market. Okay. So what is the management problem? What can be done to increase the market share of the hotel? This is the management problem. Let's take any management. They would like to increase the sales. So this is the management problem. Okay. Let's take what is the research problem? Determine. So the management problem can be converted into the research problem. Determine the market size of the hotel and strength and weakness of identify strength and weakness of similar hotel, if any, already in the market. This is said to be the research problem. Okay. So now you are asking, you are going to address this research problem. How you are going to address the research problem? These are the specific research questions. What is the size of the hotel in the market? What is the size of the hotel in the market? You don't know anything. What is the size? what's our market share? So it normally it will comes under exploratory research design. Next one, what is the potential size of the hotel? What is the size of the hotel? You don't know. Next one, what is the potential size of the hotel? Normally, let's take now we are taking, let's take now we are using atta for preparing chapati and some other food items. Okay, and there is a study. This study says, let's take all the corporates. Okay, they have produced the atta. What is the total market share? Only 10%. What about remaining 90%? Remaining 90% of the market is with unorganized sector. So if we can tape the unorganized market, still we can increase the market share. Let's take what is our intention, what is our organization. Just I wanted to know what is the size of the hotel in the market. I don't know anything. So first time I am asking this question. So it will comes under exploratory research design. What is the potential size of the hotel? Then I don't know. So it will comes under exploratory research. Next one, what attributes to customer desire to have food in hotel? Why customers are desire to have food in hotel? Okay, this is a third question. So, okay, research design. See, the first phase of the research design might begin with exploratory research. Exploratory research consisting of focus group in which customer attitude and feelings might be obtaining regarding the hotel market and desire for the particular food. Okay, so here, so what is the research design? Exploratory research design will come. How I can get answer? Because I don't know what is the market size. So now what I can do? I can collect data through focus group. Focus group means what? I can collect data from the experts. Say, for example, Hotel Owners Association in India, or sometimes I can also get some data from some secondary data from some magazines. Okay. Also, depth interview might be conducted to determine people attitude towards hotel. So what is the depth interview? We can also approach the experts in the particular field. We can conduct some depth interview, just like a debate in a television. Okay, in case of depth interview, only one expert will be there. Okay, and then so several questions will be asked from the same experts relating to the particular issue. Based on the findings of the initial exploratory research, descriptive research could be conducted to estimate the percentage of customers that might stay in the hotel and the amount they are willing to spend. Okay, once we identify the market potential and market share, okay, naturally this is a base. So based on which what we can do, we can also do the descriptive study. So this is the implication of research. This is the implication of research design. Now I will share another one. Just now I will share another one Word file. This is also relating to research. Okay. See, the three major types of research design are exploratory, descriptive, and casual research. Each type of design has different objectives. Okay, see, for example, the objectives of exploratory research is to discover idea and insight to better understand the problem. Okay, for example, if mobile company experienced an unexpected drop in sales of its iPhone, exploratory research with small sample of current and previous customer would be the best. That means in such circumstances, say for example, suddenly the mobile company feels that there is a drop in sales. We don't know the reasons. So we can do the exploratory research. Okay, next one, let's take objectives of the descriptive research. What is the descriptive research? The objectives of descriptive research is to collect information that provide answer to research questions. Okay, so what kind of research question? Say for example, this type of research enables companies to identify the trends, to test hypotheses and about relationship between variable, and ultimately to identify ways to solve previously identified market problems. Okay, let's take casual research. So what is the main objectives of cash flow research? The objectives of cash flow research is to test cost and effect relationship between independent and dependent variable. For example, a 10% increase in the price of the particular shoe, particular brand of shoe, will have significant impact on sales. You would like to know. So in such circumstances, you can use cash flow. Cash flow research. Similarly, I would like to share another one example with regard to cross-sectional longitudinal. Okay. See, I would like to let's take consumer attitude on online banking is becoming increasing positive. The most popular online banking service are follow. You all aware about online banking service. Okay. Assessing a savings or checking account, applying loan, reviewing account status, etc. Okay. So now let's take a combination of how, if it is exploratory research, how questions should be asked. If it is a descriptive research, how questions should be asked.
Krishnamurthy, sir. Krishnamurthy, sir. Sorry to cut in, sir. There is some audio problem. Krishnamurthy, sir.
Should be asked. Say for example, let's take explore. Okay, how questions can be asked? Why are banking? Why are okay? Any one of the participants kindly respond whether my voice is audible now.
Yes, sir. Audible.
Okay, sir. Okay. Say for example, you would like to ask some research question with regard to online banking. If it is an exploratory research, you are supposed to ask this research question like this: why are many customers not confident to do online banking? That means you don't know why customers not confident, because sometimes they feel that then your accounts you may be cheated, or money may be stolen from your bank account. There may be several reasons. Okay. So if you want to ask this question, it will come under exploratory research. Descriptive research. What is a descriptive research? What are the services that customer look for in online banking? So this question will come under descriptive research. What is the cash flow research? What is the relationship between customer education and probability to use online banking? Say for example, who is using the online banking? Just you would like to create a relation. You would like to establish the relationship between educational background and usage of online banking. So say for sometimes even let's say highly qualified people, they may use more online banking facilities. Sometimes let's take illiterate people, so they may not use the online banking facilities. So you can create a hypothesis. There is no significant relationship between customer education and probability of using online banking. This is a null hypothesis. What is the alternate hypothesis? The alternate hypothesis is there is a significant relationship between customer education and probability to use online banking. You can use some hypothesis. Then then you can use the then you can use the casual research design. Okay. Finally, just I would like to discuss this aspect. Sources of potential sources of error in research design. Okay. Normally, let's take, if you are not defining your research design properly, whether it's a exploratory or whether it's a casual or whether it's a descriptive, you will experience two types of error. One is random sampling error, another one is non-random sampling error. What is random sampling error? What is non-random sampling error? What is random sampling error? Random sampling error will occur because of usage of improper sampling method. When you use non-random sampling method, you will have a chance to get a random sampling error. Normally, what is the error in case of research? What we are doing in case of sampling? We have some population mean. We have calculated a population. We know the population mean. We cannot we cannot collect data from the entire population. So we are taking some sample. Just we are going to find the difference. Okay, what is the deviation from the population mean and sampling mean? Okay, based on the sampling mean, we are taking some important decisions. Okay, say for example, the population mean is 10, the sample mean is 2. That is a difference. So this will be termed as a random error. Normally this is termed as a error. Random error. What is random error? Random error may occur because of improper usage of sampling method. Okay. What about non-random sampling, non-sampling error? This may occur due to several reasons. One may be a response error. What is a response error? You have prepared a questionnaire, you have distributed a questionnaire to the respondent. For example, you have selected wrong respondent, wrong sampling unit. So definitely the response error may come. Sometimes when you distribute the questionnaire, so you might have seen this kind of answers in a questionnaire. Sometimes they will put 111 for all. They will put 111, 222, 333 for all the questions. What is this respondents? These respondents are termed as unengaged respondents. What is unengaged respondents? They don't know. Simply they are giving the answers because the response. Yes, tell me. Yes. Yes, tell me, sir.
Sir, is word file is visible, sir? Is PPT or word file?
PPT, sir. Now it's visible, sir. PPT.
Yes, sir. Now visible. Continue.
Okay. Regret for the inconvenience caused.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Total error, then random sampling, then non-sampling error. Okay, response error. Response means what? Say, for example, when you select wrong respondents, and then the response error will come. Okay. This response error can be classified into 3 types. Say, for example, researcher error, interviewer error, respondent's error. Okay. What is researcher error? Whenever, say, for example, researcher, then what is researcher error? The researcher should have, he should be confident about the entire research. For example, let's take, I am the researcher. I don't know anything about data collection method. I don't know anything about research problem. I don't know anything about review of literature. I don't know anything about statistical tools. Simply, I can approach the customers or the respondents. I can distribute the questionnaire. In such circumstances, I can get some error. First one is, then say, for example, surrogate information error. So what does that mean? Then I don't know the information. Then I don't know what information I'm supposed to need it. I don't know. In such circumstances, there will be an error. Second one is measurement error. What is measurement error? I don't know how to prepare a questionnaire. Simply, whatever the ideas comes to my mind, sometimes I am loving my idea. Whatever the information comes to my mind, simply I have formulated a questionnaire. distribute the questionnaire to the rest will be measurement error. Similarly, population definition error. Okay, whenever we do research study, we have to define the study population very clearly. Otherwise, this error will come. For example, I would like to collect data from the MBA students. Bank selection criteria adopted by MBA students. Bank selection criteria adopted by MBA students. Okay, this is my topic. So who may be my population? Only MBA students. Okay, so he said the MBA students is my population. Okay, for example, when I ask the same question from engineering students or some other student, there will be an error. This error is said to be population error. Similarly, there is another one error called data analysis error. So what is data analysis error? Error. What is data analysis error? Data analysis error is error. Sometimes error might be occurred based on the data analysis. Every data has some data. Every data should undergone some data cleaning process. Similarly, say for example, whenever you use statistical tool, we should check the assumptions. For example, we would like to use multiple regression. We need some independent variable and dependent variable. Independent variable should have been measured at 5-point scale. Dependent variable should have been measured at 5-point scale. There must be a relationship between. There must be a linear relationship between independent and dependent variable. These are the assumptions. Okay, so we have to, if we don't know this assumption, simply we can administer the statistical test. So error will come. This error is said to be data analysis error. Similarly, let's take other error, respondent selection error. Respondent, when you select wrong respondent, sometimes questioning error may come. What is questioning error? For example, let's take a questionnaire. When you ask sensitive question in the first stage, in the first question, probably you cannot get the desired result. As a result, what will happen? You'll have more missing value in your questionnaire. Sometimes you will have a recording error. For example, when you record something, sometimes because of the noise and other things, this error may come. Okay. Sometimes inability error. You may ask the questions, but the respondent may not understand your questionnaire. So in such circumstances, there may be an error. Sometimes the respondent can understand, but he may be unwilling to reveal the answers. Again, the error may come. So this type of error can be avoided. This type of error can be avoided. How this can be avoided? Only by defining proper research design. If we can able to define our research design properly, we can avoid this kind of errors. Okay. Now, if I think some of the participants have raised some queries. If you have any queries, you can post your queries